Alright, welcome back. So in the last video, we just glanced through a few of these latest elements. So we'll be talking about a few more this time around. So quickly, just a few of them. Like I always say, there are quite so many things in HTML, just the same way it is with CSS and JavaScript and other languages. But trust me, if you don't want to get yourself worked up over all of them. I mean, personally, it's not like you can't use these last two. They are very wonderful. They go together, but I've not really had to use them like that. I've not really had to use the summary and details. I've not really had to use aside. I've not really had to use article because I mean, I probably could just use section. But I just want you to know that they exist. That's the point of this video. Now, on the docs aside elements represent a portion of a document whose content is only indirectly related to the document's main content. Aside are frequently presented as sidebars or call-out boxes. Maybe this section here now, this sidebar section, you can probably nest it inside an aside content. But literally, it doesn't. I mean, look at this markup here, for instance. Inside this article, we have a paragraph. We know what the paragraph is. And then we have aside. Inside the aside tag, we nested another paragraph. And then finally, we had the third paragraph. Looking at the result, this is the code and this is the result. The first paragraph, this is it. The second paragraph nested inside an aside tag. Can you see that it doesn't make any difference actually? And then the last paragraph. So it's not really something I feel you should get yourself, bothered about really like that. The next one I'll just be glancing through as well is article. I don't really get to use article like that, but it's it exists, so you should know it exists, and then you might actually find it useful. Depends on what you're building. So on MDN, it says it represents a self-contained composition in a document or in a page or on a site. It is intended to be independently distributable or reusable. Examples include a forum post, a magazine or a newspaper article, or a blog entry. So save you the stress of comprehending the big combination of grammar and English. The idea is, on a site, maybe you want to have a blog post, newspaper article, just like the word article content, article element for article content. You know what articles are? Blog posts, forum posts, and things like that. That is when you use the article element. And lastly, we have the summary and details. Their combination, they go hand in hand. And this is just a practical example of how it is used. Let me click this. When I click this, can you see that this place comes open? It comes open. So I put this back. Now look at this. It says details. Inside the detail, you wrap a summary. Inside the summary, you can write things, you can nest, you can write things or whatever. But then outside the summary, you will write something. It is only what is inside this summary that everyone will see initially. This details tag comes with this, this, should I call it bullet triangular, slant triangular icon. It comes with it by default. So it is only what is inside this summary or summary tag that everyone will see. They would only see whatever you have here when they click on this. So when I click on this, I have this a keyboard. As for all these lines, all these border lines, they were done using CSS. Can you see they were done using CSS? So we're just going to do a little bit of that so you can see, a better way. You can just use it to make cool things. It depends on what you want to do. So still on our own page here now, in my HTML, I'm going to add an H2 that says details and summary elements. I should probably, summary elements. Let's refresh. This is my H2, details and summary elements. Now, let's now write out our details. First of all, you have the details. First of all, you open it. Nothing happens. Actually, let me save. Nothing happens. Just writing the details. Okay. It actually pops up something anyway, but no text. So you just write details. So calling out the tag alone self, HTML already understands what it is. Now, inside of it, you would have the summary element. Whatever I write inside the summary element, automatically it will be seen here instead of these details. And then after the summary, still inside within these details, I will now add any other thing. Anything I had here will not be seen except they click on that arrow icon. So next, I write this text, summary, click the arrow by the left to see more images. Let's save, refresh, click the arrow by the left to see more images. I click here, we cannot see anything because we've not added anything or any image. Now, you should understand that I used images just to prove that you can actually nest anything inside here. You can nest a paragraph, a div, a section, whatever. You can nest so many other things inside here. It doesn't have to be only text. It doesn't have to be a paragraph. So in this case now, I'll nest something else. But I won't just nest the image. Still inside these details, I can nest another details element. Just like we did, if you remember how we did with the LI, the other list and another list that I told us that you can nest a UL inside another UL, and you can nest, an OL inside another OL, and you can interchange them as well. The same way, you can actually nest a old details element still inside this one. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Instead of just writing a paragraph, I'm going to nest another details element. I save, and then let's look at what we've got. When I click on this, can you see inside of it we have this new details element? I can close this one back. I open, if I click on this, there's nothing there yet. But the point is just know that you can actually nest a details element inside another details element. So now let's nest something, let's add something inside the detail, this second details properly. Now I had this summary again. The summary is what you're going to see by default. You just need to click it once more. Sorry. I save. Let's refresh. So let's click the first one, click the arrow by the left. We click the arrow by the left, and then we get another detail again saying you just need to click it once more. Sorry. So I click it once more and we cannot find anything yet because we've not added anything inside the second one. And finally, I had an image element, img tag src. We're still using this our old picture. I adjusted the width and the height so it won't be so big. And then let's save, and finally look at what we have. Save, we click here, suspense, you need to click it once more, sorry, okay, and I click, and finally I find the image. I can toggle this to close it back, so it's like, it has a toggle property. You can toggle to open and close, and I think it's actually a very beautiful one. Then the next, also we can close everything all together. So that is how the details tag work. I think the only thing, okay, I've not talked about the section just works like div. I've explained the div initially. I've explained the divs initially. They are, it's used to group, to divide the page. At the same time, you can also divide the page with section. The section and the div, they do the same thing. So for me now, let's inspect this page again. If you inspect every page, you probably find sections there, you find divs, you find all of these things there. You can just that's an assignment I'm going to give us. So just pick any 2 or 3 popular sites, inspect it, and go to the dev tool under elements and just inspect it and see the tags that are there. Now inside this my own, now inside the main, we have a div first of all, and inside the div I open it, you can see I have one section, I have another section inside it. By the way, you should understand that this thing is even looking like a details and summary. It works like details and summary. You can close to open and close. Tap to open and tap to close. So inside this, we have a div. Inside this div, we have this section. We have another section. Inside this section, if I tap on it, we have divs, plenty divs, about 6 or thereabout inside. Inside the second section as well, if I tap this, we have 4 divs inside. So I can close it back. Both of them, these 2 sections are inside this div. Let's close this div back. This div is inside this main. We can close this main, and we have the footer, main, and header, all of them inside the body. So I can close all of that. So I simply just, the architectural work of this page is from this first part, down to here, I put it inside a div. I have something else here that it was actually a div, but I just give it a background color, and I did this with CSS actually. And then the second part here, this part that contains 4 pictures and this block title and this dummy text, it is also the second div. So the main content is divided into 2 divs. Now inside one div, I have 6 sections. This like this is one section. This is the second section, third section, fourth, fifth, and sixth section. So inside the first div, I have 6 different sections. They are looking like, they are looking very identical. Now, inside one section, if I inspect this section for you as well, you'll see that I actually have a div, I have a paragraph, and I have another div. So it might be confusing for you right now, it's understandable, but later on, you will learn to be able to, analyze a page. For instance, if I give you this page as a task, say, okay, clone this page. I want you to build this page, build this site exactly the way I built it. You need to be able to sit down and analyze, okay, how did they do this thing? I think this should be an header element. With inside the header element, there is, a nav bar, there is a form which contains a search bar. We've not talked about forms. We're going to talk about forms very soon. We have the anchor tags or ULs. Inside the ULs, they all contain anchor tags that leads to different pages. If I click this, it takes me to a different page. Can you see? If I click to politics, it takes me to politics page. And then to show that you're on the page I click, it is whitened. The others are dimmed. If I go to sports becomes whitened. So I did all of that with CSS actually. So I think that is just a summary of the semantic elements, and over the course we'll be playing around with many of them. So I think in the next video we should be adding on to tables, HTML tables. See you in the next video.